It is.
It's good morning, Amanda Jackson. Welcome to Yellow Shelf.
Sure. Thank you for having me. This is such a privilege to be here. I love what you're doing with Yellow Shelf. It's amazing.
Look, my pleasure. I have your book, which is out now, Motherhood and Matrescence. Tell us all about it. What do we need to know? And talk us through matrescence, even if I said that correctly, because it wasn't a word I was familiar with, and I feel like it's something I should know. But yeah, tell us about the book, and then yeah, love.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So, Motherhood and Matrescence is a book basically for mums. I'll tell you what it's not. It's definitely not a how-to parenting guide. What it is a guidebook for mums that talks about all the things that go on around us. So, motherhood as a social construct and the way that the world sees us differently when we become mums. And matrescence is referring to the things that usually go on within us. So the changes that we experience as we become a mum. So matrescence basically just means the process of becoming a mum. And it's a beautiful way to encapsulate all the changes that we go through as we're becoming a mum. But you're right, it's definitely not a word that we're all familiar with, even though it was coined in the 70s by Dana Raphael. It's still slowly making its way into our dialogue, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
it's funny, I did read that it came from an anthropologist in the 70s. And
yeah,
I thought maybe I had heard of it, but maybe like my journey as a mother and motherhood, I just kind of gotten on with it. And I think that's what often happens with motherhood. It's well, for my experience, I kind of signed up for it and and then it's yeah, we were just sharing off camera. It's a journey, isn't it?
absolutely. And I don't think that we really hear about matrescence enough. I mean, for me, I would ideally love to hear it weaved into even our prenatal checkups. Like how are you going, connecting with your body now that it's changing? How's your relationship changing? Where do you need support? How's your mental health now that you're pregnant or becoming a mum? All those things, just honoring how it does, how life changes, and how we change becoming a mum would be amazing. And I guess that was the point of the book, was to really flesh out and put language around all those changes that we feel and that we're experiencing, and quite often don't have time to reflect and pause and dive into what's happening to make sense of it all.
Mm. And I was sharing with you, the book's beautiful because it's not like word page to page. It's so lovely. And, I when you're at the bookstore, have a look, pick this book up because I was just saying to you, Amanda, I want to share it with one of my girlfriends who I want to share it with at the moment, but I actually would love her to give me the book back because I feel like this is a book where, yeah, it'll be something that I can just go to for comfort and for understanding.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for that reflection. I really honoring the fact that we were talking about as well, where we're at in our mothering journey, that it's not just for mums who have young
Yes.
children as well. Both of us have young children and also teens. And I think for many mums that are in that teen stage, there's no support. There's this whole idea that, we should have it all figured out by now. But really, I want to break through that stigma and say, actually, mums of all ages and stages deserve support. And so the book obviously touches on, pregnancy and birth a little, but the real message in there is for mums of all ages and stages to help them reconnect with themselves and step back into their agency and
Yeah.
power. I've been really surprised when I beta tested it the first time, actually, how mums that were entering their grandmother stage as well responded to the book. I gave it to them
Yes.
thinking, they would pass it on to their daughters, and they were like, "This is articulated so many of the things I felt." So it was
Yeah.
nice to hear actually that it had resonated with all ages and stages.
Yeah, and that absolutely resonates with me. It's like a book, yeah, I want to keep and I want to refer to. I think, yeah, I didn't even get it as a first time mum book. It may or may not be for some, but I felt like this was definitely needed for me at my time in life, and I see it in other friends as well. Amanda, tell us about you as an author. Is this your first book? Like, tell us about that journey, and I guess what inspired you to write it as a book?
Sure. So for me, I'm a mum of three. My background is in psych and sociology, and my thesis was in the regulation of pregnant women's bodies, well
Okay.
before I was a mum myself. And a big part, I guess, of my journey was I started realizing how my body was treated differently as I was becoming a mum and once I was a mum. And really trying to make sense of what that was, as well as going, what is happening to me internally and what's happening around me? Why am I treated differently now I'm a mum? And I looked at my husband's life and it hadn't changed as much as mine had. And so really, I just went back to the literature, dived in as deep as I could and started researching around this. Um, and the book actually started as two completely separate resources, one as a small card set and then one as a very large reflective journal. And a friend said to me, no, no, this is too much and this is too little. This is a book. And I thought, no, what? This is going to take way too long.
Yeah.
And it did take a long time.
Yeah.
It was written in the cracks of time. You know, I'd be in the shower and all of a sudden think, oh my God, I've got to write this down, get out and write it down. Or late at night while patting my little one to
Yeah.
sleep, something could come. And also written at different parts in my cycle as well. Sometimes when I was in the calmer stage, and then I'd, go just before my cycle and think, actually, I feel really fierce and strong about this. I
Yeah.
need to articulate that too. So
Yes.
the book came, over probably a good 4 year
Okay.
period that it took to write. And then I just had to put a deadline on it and thought,
Sure.
okay, this needs to go out into the world now because every time I evolved as a mum, I wanted to keep adding. And I was like, that's it now. She's
Yeah.
ready. Let's release this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, this is a book, husbands could buy for their wives, friends for girlfriends, like whatever. I feel like it's a wonderful resource. That's why it was so good to get you on. Amanda, tell us if we're curious about you, the book. I obviously know you're on Facebook and Instagram. Point us in the direction, and I'll put that in the show notes to send people to you and to the book.
Amazing. Thank you. Well, I'm really glad first that we've had a space to talk about this because I
Yeah.
think we're so highly educated on birth, how our baby's developing. And so really giving that opportunity for women to learn about what's happening to them is so important. So thank you for this. And if anyone's curious to learn more, they can go to my website, which is motherhoodandmatrescence.com. And you'll find a heap of free resources on there as well to help with all those invisible loads of mothering.
Yeah. And look, thank you for bringing matrescence into our vocabulary. I think it's fabulous, and we need to use that more and share that with friends and the next generation of women. Well done. Thanks for joining
Absolutely.
us.
Thank you for having me and spreading the word, Joe.
Cheers.